Well, hello and welcome to episode 65. I've heard a few musicians, songwriters, and producers make the claim that B flat major is one of the more desirable keys. And how ironic is it that astronomers claim that the sound emanating from the Perseus cluster is the deepest note ever detected in the universe, and it is a B flat note, and it's 57 octaves below middle C, so we would not be able to hear the sound. So I guess the universe is still in tune, and this black hole agrees that B flat is the best key. Have you ever realized that most people we've met in our lifetime, whether they be friends, cousins, coworkers, neighbors, etc., is that we're compatible with them? And the reason we're compatible with them is that we don't see them every day and don't live with them. That's a whole nother story. And you could say that most people that are compatible with other people lost their identity. Only kidding, of course. So it's 45 years later, and Voyager 1 is still rocking through space, which carries a copy of the Golden Record and a message from us to the cosmos containing greetings in 55 languages, pictures of people and places on Earth, and music ranging from Beethoven to Chuck Berry's Johnny B. Good, which definitely belongs on this trip through space. Whoever made that choice to include this classic song knew what they were doing. It's such a dynamic tune, and this headline came from the Pasadena Star News on January 30th, 2023. So I recently got my 23andMe DNA genetic testing results back, and I'm 99% Italian, which means I'm a total ginzo. And for the remaining 1%, I'm 0.8% Northwest Asian, Iranian, Caucasian, and Mesopotamian, and 0.1% Ashkenazi Jewish. Now, the stipulation for the 1% is that we're more likely, somewhat likely, to have had a third, fourth, or more great grandparents who were Iranian, Caucasian, and Mesopotamian, born between 1680 and 1800, but nothing's further specific. And the same for Ashkenazi Jewish, likely to have a fourth or fifth or more great grandparent, but for both Ashkenazi Jewish and Iranian and Caucasian and Mesopotamian, they had no specific areas located. On a deeper dive into the DNA testing report, I have more Neanderthal DNA than 23% of their customers. So possibly my roots go back thousands of years. And when I informed my wife and friends about this information, they claimed that it made sense since I still act like a Neanderthal. And this does account for 2% of my DNA. I also have one variant associated with experiencing more itchy mosquito bites. Excuse me. More itchy mosquito bites, which was the case when I was young, but not anymore. I hardly get bitten anymore. Another variant claims that I'm less likely to have a hitchhiker's thumb, which is correct. I only did it once in my life, and who hitchhikes anymore? I haven't seen a hitchhiker in over 40 years. Lastly, I have a variant that does match well with my traits, which claims that I'm a better sprinter than distance runner, which is true. I was a speedster in my prime, and my coach in high school clocked me at 10.9 seconds in the 100-yard dash. And both my brother and my two sons are quite fast also. And note that if you're a sprinter, you don't need to run long distances. Well, hopefully at least. Have you ever realized that the saying you can't go home and you can't leave home is simultaneously true? This brings up a valid point if you think about it. And as I'm starting my tax return online, one of the first questions was, I'm preparing my tax return for Dennis, who has passed away. And I was like, am I dead already? And I don't know. Obviously, they had to make sure that I hadn't passed away, but unfortunately for my wife, I had to click no. And as I'm watching the Pentagon press secretary being questioned about the Chinese high altitude surveillance balloon, naturally, most of the questions are answered with a, I'm sorry, I can't answer that question since it's classified information. This was about a week or so ago. And there were quite a few of these. And if I was one of the journalists, I would have asked if you could just tell us everything that you know that isn't classified, and we'll take it from there. And this would have made it much easier on everyone. Which makes me think maybe I should become a journalist since no one else thought this. Very good. My wife is of Spanish descent, and I'm Italian, so of course we're your typical Latin Italian type. Once we finish our lunch, we start thinking about what we're going to have for dinner. It never ends with us, and I will stop here.